Witch hunts were never really just about witchcraft. They were about silencing powerful, intuitive women. And let's be honest, those hunts are still going on today. Dun, dun, dun!
For generations, women were shamed for trusting themselves, sensing things before they happen, and believing in their own power. No one encouraged them to embrace it until now. Welcome to Trust Yourself.
I got notes today.
Hey,
Look
watch
at
out,
me.
everybody.
Woo! We're going to stay on track.
Oh my God, I'm excited. Hi, I'm Elise, but my sister calls me Sissy.
And I'm her sister, Heidi.
We're your psychic sisters here to help you believe the unbelievable. And today we are talking about the history of witches and how they were never evil, just powerful. Trigger warning here, we will be talking about heavy topics around death and torture of women. So please feel free to skip this episode if that makes you uncomfortable.
We also do talk about shmushmotions.
So if you don't want to hear that too, we understand that is a sensitive topic. Sorry.
It's just a little part, you can always just fast forward it too. But you'll know when it's coming.
But we really wanted to talk about witches, not just because it's almost Halloween, but because it's still relevant to feminine suppression today, unfortunately.
If anything, I find it's the most relevant right now.
Right?
It really is.
Yeah.
It's almost like we're being suppressed again.
Weird. So crazy.
Are we being oppressed again, or is it just still it never stopped?
So I think it's still. We'll talk about all the reasons why. So witches, these women were the ones who could ease your pain with herbs in the garden, deliver babies without epidurals, heal infections with plants. They were trusted by their communities until the patriarchy realized that trust was power. And the healer became the devil worshiper. The midwife became the murderer, and fear replaced reverence. Does this sound a little familiar, maybe? So today, they just call us crazy, unhinged, overly sensitive, but I don't think that the root has changed. It's still about controlling women who can't be contained. Honestly, we could have an entire podcast about just witches and feminine suppression.
Right.
I think there's even a college course dedicated to witchcraft and paganism studies.
Yeah.
I'm sure maybe there's even a degree you could get. Who knows? But
there should be.
We obviously can't cover everything about witches in this one episode. This could turn into a 200-hour National Geographic documentary, but
I'd be down. Let's do it. I can talk.
I know you can talk. And I know I can do a lot of research, so we could go on and on, but we are going to try and keep it concise. So if we don't talk about everything that you know about witches, just add your facts to our comments. Help us out a little. But we do want to talk about what a witch looked like back in the 15th century and what she looks like today, because the stakes and gallows may have changed, but we are still getting burned metaphorically.
Let's get our fire retardant suit on, guys.
Oh my God. Well, yeah, we are still quote unquote burned online. We are burned in the boardroom and in legislation. Women are still being silenced, discredited, ridiculed for standing in their power. And if you are a man listening to this, yes, you are welcome here too, because we understand that listening to history helps all of us break these cycles. So thank you for being here.
We appreciate you.
Also, there were still men accused of being witches or helping witches back in the day, so stick around for that. All right, now time for the historical background part, and don't run away because history is exciting.
Don't hit snooze.
Don't fast forward. Don't fast forward. Okay. This is so fascinating to me. And I think we need to understand this before we move into today's era of witches. So the term witch actually stems from the term Wicca or Wicca, which actually meant practitioner of sorcery or magic. But this sorcery was seen as healing, right? It was intended to mean wise people because they knew how to heal with herbs. And it wasn't necessarily associated with negative connotations of harmful magic until later. So a witch was actually quite amazing in her community. So Heidi, how about you give us a little background of what a witch actually was?
I would love to. So when doctors were rare or unaffordable, people who were healers were the next best thing. So these are people who were herbalists. They would make salves, teas, medicinal remedies. And those were the people that practiced folk medicine. So they were not educated doctors, but they were typically women, but sometimes men who used plants and herbs, especially if we look into midwives as well and birth workers. They helped women through childbirth. They also controlled fertility, and they knew natural methods to ease pain or even end pregnancy.
Which can seem like magic, right? Because you're like, how did you ease my pain? It's magic.
Yeah, exactly. The seeing before believing sort of thing, right? So it's like, wait, how can you not be in pain? You're birthing a child right now.
Yes, you must be a sorceress.
So that means I'm a sorceress because I had 2 unmedicated births.
Bitch. I mean, witch. I mean,
witch. She's a witch.
She's a witch.
Honestly, though, it was hypnotherapy. It's just hypnosis. So that's exactly what a midwife would be teaching, right? Yep. Hypnotherapy, hypnosis. They were also what they would call, quote unquote, cunning folk. I think that's a fun little title. Or wise women, which they offered charms, blessings. They had protection rituals, and communities relied on them for everything from curing illness to finding lost livestock, which is incredibly important when that is your livelihood.
Yeah. So they use their intuition to find them.
Yeah. And
cool.
And so they would also be like seers or spiritual counselors, where they interpreted dreams, they sensed energetic shifts, and they preserved older pre-Christian spiritual traditions. So they were the keepers of knowledge.
Yeah, so the witch or Wicca is an asset to a community, but as the 13th and 14th centuries pass, these perceptions of witch start to shift. I think there's always been a little fear around witches, but more so like the fear of the unknown. But in the Middle Ages, this is where it really, really got bad. So the Middle Ages, they weren't an easy time to be alive, male or female, for anyone. There were widespread wars across Europe, much of which were religious wars. There were plagues spreading rapidly, killing people, killing crops. People were desperate for answers, and witches were an ideal scapegoat for a lot of these different challenges. If you can put a face to the problem, it makes you feel better, right? So witchcraft was a rational explanation for all sorts of things. The witch hunt craze took place globally from the mid-15th century to the mid-18th century, and it resulted in an estimated 40 to 60,000 executions. 3 very popular witch hunts took place in Scotland, Germany, and the colonial United States. It was around the end of the 15th century where you start to get a sense of witchcraft in European society growing out of fear of heresy. So a heretic is someone who is defined by the church authorities as not following the rules and the regulations and the beliefs of Christian orthodoxy. We are going to have an episode coming up all about deconstructing the Bible and how this can instill fear in a lot of people. So stay tuned for that. But this is kind of our little precursor to that, I'll say.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden, the church decides that witches and heretics are alike. The witch becomes someone who not only can cause harm in your community, but does it because of the devil. And the Bible taught us that women were the weaker vessels. They're more susceptible to the devil's temptation. That's why 80% of accusers of witchcraft were women.
Because how dare she eat an apple?
How dare Eve? How dare her? But also, didn't Adam eat it too? But come on.
Nobody cares. Nobody cares. She did it
Eve
first,
started
though, so it's her fault.
Her damn fault. Susceptible to the devil's temptation.
Yep. Can't wait to get into this later.
I know. Okay, so this is the perfect storm for intense witch hunts. And what really kicks it off is this lovely, lovely man named Heinrich Kramer.
He sounds like a peach.
He sounds like a dick. So Heinrich Kramer, no offense to any Heinrichs around here, but yeah, this guy was no good, no bueno. Heinrich Kramer was a Dominican monk. And for those of you that are like me, no, that does not mean he's from the Dominican Republic.
Oh.
Actually.
I was definitely picturing, I was like, oh, Dominican. I didn't think that with that name, Heinrich, but okay.
The Dominican Republic wasn't even a country yet. No, Dominican monk is actually a member of the Dominican order. It is a Roman Catholic religious order founded by Saint Dominic.
Oh, so okay. I'm tracking now.
Yeah. He was actually from southern Germany.
Okay. Yeah, there it is.
Which actually also wasn't a country yet. This was the Roman Empire. So he lived physically where southern Germany is now. Okay. So Heinrich, Dominican monk who became a demonologist, very interested in the link between witches and the devil. Which to me just sounds like an excuse to hurt women because he's an angry, angry man.
Yeah, of course.
Of course. So this Kramer guy, he must not have had luck with the ladies because in 1484, he storms off to Rome to go talk to the Pope all about his ideas of women turning against Christianity.
Lovely ideas.
He wants the Pope to formally acknowledge the existence of witches as a threat. So the Pope ends up giving him an official rite, which declares Heinrich to be responsible for eradicating witches in all of what is now southern Germany.
That's a lot of power for one little person.
A lot of freaking power. And this little man, which I'm sure he was little, in many ways.
I mean, to be fair, back in that time frame, most people were of shorter stature. So
okay, way to be nice, Heidi. That's normally my stance.
I know. What is with me?
What is happening? Okay. So this man, he runs back to the Roman Empire in his hometown of what is now Innsbruck, Germany, with this rite in hand. He's like, look at me, I'm important. And he decides to hold a trial for a witch in his community, or someone he thinks is a witch in his community. But guess what? This trial actually flopped. The local bishop intervened and said, this is ridiculous. And the whole thing ended up in a fiasco.
Good.
And people actually said that he seemed really creepy and obsessive with the idea that women were weak in every aspect, mind, body, soul.
Yeah.
And so they're like, ew, you're creepy, get away. So he's, of course, butthurt, and he leaves Innsbruck super upset about the failure. So what does he do? He decides to write a book in 1486, and he called it Malleus Maleficarum.
Because if it's in a book, it must be facts.
Exactly. Malleus Maleficarum, aka the Hammer of Witches. Literally translated, it means actually the hammer of the female evildoers.
Jesus.
We're off to a great start.
We need to make that
right?
a shirt. Just the hammer.
So this book that he wrote is basically a one-stop shop for how to be a witch hunter. And it includes a lot of his demonology.
That sounds good.
I don't know how to say it.
All the demon information.
Yes, it includes all of his demonology ideologies, if that's even a thing. It talks about demons too. So the ideas are like, we sin because we're weak. The devil deceives women because they're weak. He says that witchcraft isn't just harmful. Witchcraft is now a heretical act of making a pact with the devil. So now, instead of getting shut down at a trial, with this book, he's starting to capture the thoughts of the elite, educated, devoutly religious men, which can be dangerous.
Literally just because he wrote a book?
Because he wrote a book.
Yes. A, man. The power of words, people.
The power of words. Yeah, because they didn't see this creepy, obsessive man. They just read the book and said, oh, that makes sense.
That must be facts. There's no Google. You know, there's no fact checking. What are they going to do?
I mean, it's kind of like we're also at the opposite end of the spectrum now that we have so many people with opinions that we also don't know what's fact. So I can see where we're in the same
We're
position.
at the same position. Yes, 100%. I agree.
Okay.
Fuck.
All right. One thing that was really harmful in this book was the idea that with witches, there's no time or need to wait for lawyers and minute details,
of course.
Which is something that he hated about that first trial, right? Because he was like, oh, these lawyers are just getting in the way and blah, 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 blah.
How convenient for him to decide this.
So in this book, he declares that...
I do declare...
that with witch suspects, you should torture them as soon as possible.
Of course, you must.
But he also says like, oh, it can just be like little torture, like hanging them up on their arms, by their arms, and just a little bit.
Just to get them to squeal.
Exactly. So what does that do? But it makes them confess to things they haven't done.
Because they also say like, if you confess, we'll stop. But then also it's like, oh, you confess. Well, you're dead now. It was a lose-lose situation.
Very losey-losey. Yes. Yeah. One thing I found fascinating while researching was that the men in the communities talked about how women would put spells on them. Well, in reality, if you look at the context, I mean, if you look at male and females in general, stereotypically, a man, when he's angry, he could get aggressive physically, right? Like punch, hit, fight. When a female gets angry, she's not going to punch or hit you, but she might say under her breath, well, curse you or damn you to hell. And guess what? When something bad happens after that to that person that was cursed, where do they point their finger? To that woman. She's a witch. She cursed me.
Yeah. Weird. So I guess we should rather choose violence.
No. No, but that's just like,
but I choose violence now. No, as you know, Martin Luther King Jr. tells us that is not going to help anything. So we fight with love, guys, and with our voices.
All right. So all of a sudden, Malleus Maleficarum takes off throughout the Holy Roman Empire, which the empire is now modern day Germany, Austria, Czech Republic, Switzerland, Belgium, the Netherlands, Northern Italy, and also includes parts of France and Poland. So they were a really fragmented place politically. And so a lot of communities, they just took justice into their own hands. And the witch hunts begin in earnest. In some villages, every woman was taken to trial. There wasn't a woman left.
Oh my God.
Can you freaking believe that?
Good luck creating your next population, guys.
Bye. You guys are all goners.
Lordy.
So in 1582 in Trier, Germany, they have a decade-long witch hunt. And in Trier, witchcraft was seen as such a threat that they treated witchcraft as an exceptional crime, which means that it could be a short procedure, 1 week from arrest to execution. And in many cases, they also said that, oh, there's no witnesses needed, just interrogate them and then...
Yeah.
Because they saw like witchcraft and magic as scary. So they're like, oh, well, we have to do it fast because witchcraft is bad and terrifying. So you have to ignore the rules.
Yeah, of course.
So it was also, unfortunately, believed that the body of heretics were unclean. So they needed to burn their bodies. Even if they hung them first, they would still burn them to remove the contagion from the community.
Of course.
They also believed that, if you don't burn the body, then the devil can come back to use their corpse after they're dead. Mm-hmm. And they wanted to create a spectacle for the public to scare them, to instill fear.
Let me show you. Look how good I am. I burned the witch. I'm such good, strong man, yes? Look at me. We'll get you too.
Exactly.
Yes. Don't you worry. I protect the world.
Oh, Heidi, now I have to go back to a history lesson after that. Okay, so now by the 1590s, the economy and the crops were actually doing better in the Roman Empire. But of course, the community still wants to witch hunt. You can't stop them. They're like, no, gotta get the witches.
Yeah.
And so now moving up to Scotland at the same time, around 1590, King James VI of Scotland, he wanted so badly to become the King of England because at that time, Queen Elizabeth I was the ruler of England and she had no children and somehow was related to King James because of probably incest, who knows?
Of course. That's how you keep the bloodline pure.
Probably. So he became a candidate to become the King of England, but he had to get married and have an heir first. So of course, he picks out a 14-year-old child bride, poor Princess Anna of Denmark. Aww. And he demanded that she sail with her fleet of ships across the sea to Scotland to get married. But unfortunately, when she's making that trek, her ships never made it because
Hold on, I'm sorry. The parallels to Princess Anna now.
I was thinking the same thing.
Wait a second. What's Disney trying to tell us?
Frozen. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah. Mm-hmm, that's the one.
Yeah. But her ships didn't sink. They couldn't make it across. There's bad weather and they tried 6 times. They attempted 6 times and never made it. So eventually King James gets royally pissed off, of course, and he needs to blame someone. So he starts asking the Danish admiral, what the heck went wrong? Why couldn't you make it? And then the Danish admiral blames the governor of Copenhagen, who then blames common witches.
Of course.
Pass the buck until you get to those who can't defend themselves.
Find a woman.
Find a woman and point your finger. Yep. Thus starts another huge witch hunt in Scotland. And Heidi, you have some interesting facts about the Scottish witch trials now that you're going to move to Ireland and practically be neighbors with Scotland.
I know so much gobs of history of Scottish folklore. No, actually not at all. But I did do a little bit of research on one specific human. And if I pronounce any Scottish thing incorrect, I'm so sorry.
You are going to hell.
I know. Carly, if you're listening, all of our Scottish friends, help me. So this is the story of Beatrix Leslie, who was born around 1577, but she was actually tried and convicted as a witch when she was about 84 years old, which is real up there for that time frame, right? But also it's very interesting to also note that a lot of these targeted women were elderly. They didn't have protection. They probably didn't have a spouse. They were usually widowed. They owned land, which made them powerful, which men didn't like.
No.
So she was a midwife. She lived in Blackcoat Parish of Newbattle, Midlothian, Scotland. Thing.
Ah, yes, Midlothian.
Of course, the Midlothians. So she was a midwife and a folk healer. So she was one that used medicines and herbal remedies and just kind of helped out her small town. Apparently, the local accounts indicate that she was somewhat argumentative and had ongoing quarrels with neighbors. So, she just was opinionated, okay?
Sure.
She just like to speak her mind.
Yeah.
And there's a story that she stored a quote unquote pock, which is a small container or charm in the home.
Did you say pock or pot?
Pock. Oh. P-O-C-K. Pock.
Okay.
Is this another Scottish thing? It's a pock. She stored a pock. Wait, that was kind of more Irish. I don't know. I'm going to have to hone my skills here. Yeah. So she stored that in the home of William Young and Agnes Aitchison, which generated some suspicion and conflict. So she had acted as a midwife for Young and Aitchison before. They had a good relationship, but eventually their relationship soured. And eventually those two, Young and Aitchison, both testified against her when things went bad. Because of course they were like, wait, she stored a pock in my house at some point and she's argumentative.
What is a pock again?
It says it's a small container or charm. So I don't know if it's just like a little like satchel of herbs or something.
Is it meant to like bring good luck or?
It could be a protection thing. Like when I looked it up, I was like, what the hell? But like, yeah, it could have been used for protection. It could have just been like herbal remedies or something, but they like found this and they're like, why did she just leave this here? Or again, could have been just a twisted story. We don't know because really good record keeping in the 1600s didn't quite exist.
Right.
So then William Young claimed that on a night following a quarrel that he had with Beatrix, he awoke screaming that Leslie and a quote unquote number of cats were devouring him.
What? What?
I think, you know, some people might just call this a nightmare or a dream. But he was adamant that Beatrix had something to do with this and that he was going to be devoured by cats. So then
bizarre.
after this sort of central accusation, Leslie was then also accused of the collapse of a coal pit via witchcraft, which the collapse allegedly did kill 2 girls. So they, again, looking for a scapegoat, pointed at Beatrix Leslie and said, she used witchcraft, she collapsed this. So for the trial, her trial took place in Dalkeith, probably saying that wrong, in 1661. And that was a joint trial with 5 other women being accused of witchcraft in that region. And the trial began on July 20th and concluded on August 3rd. So kind of similar to what you were saying, Sissy, about they kept it fast and short.
Yeah.
And of course, during interrogation, she underwent the common witch ordeals, which include pricking, where you use needles or pins to search for the devil's mark. And
I've heard of this.
Right? It's a spot thought not to bleed or feel pain, which honestly, did you not put needles through your fingertips as kids? Because like it's through the top layer of your skin.
Oh
It
my
doesn't
God.
hurt. It doesn't
I forgot
bleed.
about doing that.
You forget about it? I did it all the time. It was so weird.
Yeah, I remember doing that, but I don't think that's what they were trying to do necessarily. I don't think they were trying to not hurt you. I think what they did was poke at every single mole on your body, which for me would be a shit ton, looking for that so-called witch's mark, and they're causing you to scream in pain. I think they were just doing it as another form of torture.
Right. Until when they decided, and then they'd probably just be like, let's take the top layer and not cause blood or pain. Right? I just feel like that's like, yes, it was definitely a form of torture, but it's also something that it's like, sure, you could still use a needle and not cause pain or make somebody bleed as well. So not, scientific evidence that they are a quote unquote witch. And they also did something called Bierrecht. It looks very German. It's Bierricht. It's Scottish. So Bierrecht. Carly, help us. So this was a corpse test. So they thought that touching the corpse of alleged victims, if the person being accused touched the corpse, then if the corpse bled when touched by the accused, it was taken as evidence of guilt. And according to records, the 2 girls' corpses only bled when she touched them. But
oh, sure.
Okay. So then she gave a confession under duress, mind you. So after lots of torturing and all of the bad things, she confessed that she had in fact met the devil twice, once in the form of a brown dog and once as a young man. And she claimed that she agreed to serve him and was given a new name, quote unquote, Bold Leslie. You go, girl. I would have chosen that. I'm Bold Leslie now. Hell yeah. I love it. So she professed to have not renounced her Christian baptism, i.e. she insisted that she remained in some sense formally Christian. But of course, she was found guilty, and Beatrix Leslie was strangled and burned on the 3rd of September, 1661.
Damn.
I know.
Beatrix Leslie and the dog reminds me of Bellatrix Lestrange and
Sirius Black.
Sirius Black.
I know.
Yes. I wonder if she got any ideas.
So
there.
many parallels.
Interesting.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Because she was a bad witch.
She was a bad witch. Mm-hmm.
Interesting. So a lot of shit happening in Europe and people fleeing Europe, going to colonial United States or the 13 colonies or whatever they were.
Stolen property.
Exactly. They were thinking, oh, we're going to escape this. Well, guess what? They don't escape it. So fast forward to the 1690s in colonial US, in what would now be Salem, Massachusetts.
Heyo.
Salem was a Puritan community, and the people left England. They fled England in the early 1600s because of the Anglican Church. They were telling them what to do, and they wanted to start their own doctrine. So the Puritans in Salem, they believed that any sin or rebellion or perceived witchcraft could invite God's wrath on the entire community. And Salem was also a small, isolated settlement surrounded by wilderness and lots of threats. There were animals, there was disease, political instability.
Not to mention the weather and the bad weather. It's a little cold.
Yeah, and these stresses combined with the Puritan fears of moral decay, they created the perfect environment for panic to spread. So, of course, in January 1692, when several young girls in the Salem village started exhibiting strange and inexplicable illnesses, a local physician, who was unable to find medical cause, declared that the girls must be under the influence of witchcraft. So soon after that, the girls then accused 3 marginalized women, Tituba, Sarah Good, and Sarah Osborne. They accused them of practicing witchcraft. And under pressure, of course, Tituba confessed and spun vivid tales of devil and dark magic, which ignited widespread panic.
Honestly, though, sorry to cut you off, Sissy, but Tituba is the real superhero here because she's like, fine, you're going to accuse me of witchcraft? You're fucking all
witches.
down.
Exactly.
You're all cursed, motherfuckers.
Yes. And that went on for a year. So, and now Salem, as we know it, is a bopping, cute town of tourism.
Great. I love Salem.
It is really great, but it's really unfortunate what happened there.
Yeah. Shout out to all of the Salem historians, my neighbor included, because they are such a wealth of knowledge and really do keep that alive of what is fact and what is kind of myth around everything. So love them.
Absolutely. Okay. So how are witches still being quote unquote hunted today? AKA, how is female suppression still showing up? And it is.
Yep.
Oppression has always adapted. It's just wearing new clothes. So now instead of silencing us at the gallows, they are canceling us online, ridiculing us for aging, for speaking up, for daring to show power. They silence us in politics with legislation, laws about our own bodies, with healthcare, with pay gaps. They silence us in boardrooms where decisions are being made. We are called aggressive instead of assertive, and hysterical instead of passionate, and bossy instead of visionaries.
I love the word hysterical because it's just literally talking about your fucking uterus.
I know.
How dare you? You have a uterus? You're crazy. It must be the hysteria.
We are so educated now. Still having problems with that.
Yeah.
So the witch hunts, they didn't stop. It just adapted to our modern world. And if you're like me and you're the prove it kind of person, I've got some facts for you. And don't be ashamed if you are that kind of person, because I grew up thinking that feminine suppression, that's only in like my great grandma's era, not ours. We're fine now. We're all equal.
We're good. We got jobs. We're okay.
Oh my gosh, was I ever wrong? Okay.
Right? It is weird though how we were kind of masked for a while where it was like, oh yeah, no, we're good now. Like women can vote. Oh, yeah. Women can have jobs.
My mom works.
Yeah. Women can speak up. We're good.
That's great, right?
How wrong we were.
Wrong. All right. So here are some interesting dates that will still prove that we are being oppressed. And side note, I am only using statistical data from the United States history because I need to have a focus. Otherwise, this could go on forever if we include other countries. All right. So Heidi, listen to these dates of modern day suppression and let me know if you are surprised at all.
Okay.
Women couldn't wear pants until 1910. Another fun fact, they intentionally created women's pants without pockets as another form of control, because if you make a woman hold their belongings in their hand or in a purse, they are less able to defend themselves and they are more vulnerable, or they need a man to carry their things for them, which is also why women's pants still don't have many pockets today.
I don't like that.
Yeah. Interesting, right?
Just I love pockets. I'm actually pissed off that this hoodie, well, it's not a hoodie, it's a sweatshirt, but I'm like, it needs a pocket.
You know what? One of my favorite feminist friends, she had a wedding dress that had pockets in it.
Yes.
I'm like, you freaking go, girl.
I've seen those and I was jealous that I didn't notice them or know of them. But yeah.
I know. All right. Keep going. White women couldn't vote until 1920. Black women couldn't vote until 1965. Our mom was 5 years old.
Our parents were alive. Yeah. This is not that long ago, guys.
Ridiculous.
Not that long ago.
Indigenous women weren't able to be citizens of their own country until 1924.
I get such, I'm not even going to go into it, but I did go into it with my kids on quote unquote Columbus Day, which is Indigenous Peoples Day. But my son's calendar said Columbus Day still. And I was like, oh, son, we got some talking to do. So now he knows Columbus is not a good man.
All right, moving on. Women weren't allowed to initiate divorce from their husbands until 1969.
Do you want to know a fun fact?
Yeah, always.
So our grandpa turned 96 this year. And I was with him for his birthday this year. And we talked until late in the night.
I love that.
And he just was reminiscing about things. But did you know that he actually told our grandma, so they were going to get a divorce. But he said, I want you to file it so it's under your name so that for optics, right, it didn't look like he was filing for divorce from his wife, because it was actually a very amicable divorce from what I've gathered from grandpa. But then hearing that 1969, it was like not much long after that he was like, I'm going to have you file for the divorce so that like you have more power. And he was like, I was very generous with her in the divorce. So I was really proud of grandpa for that, especially at that time, you know?
Okay. Family history 101.
There you go. The more you know.
Right. Back to the women of the U.S. All right. Women couldn't get birth control without a man until 1972.
Oh, God, that's not long ago.
Embarrassing. Women couldn't buy a home, get a credit card without a man until 1974. And women were not legally allowed to get an abortion until 1973 when Roe versus Wade was passed and legalized abortion nationwide. But unfortunately, we're going to come back to this one. Women couldn't own their own business without a man until 1988. I was a toddler.
Yikes. Could you imagine? Okay, Taylor Swift was born in 1989. If she was never allowed to own her business,
she had to have a man sign off on it.
Yep. You guys.
Fucking A. Yeah.
The empire.
Women didn't have legal protection against marital rape until 1993. And now that's even coming into question these days.
Stop. I don't watch the news because I can't.
I know.
Anymore.
Sorry for the reminder. Women couldn't marry another woman legally in the US until 2015.
Yep.
You could get married in some states prior to this, but it wasn't nationally recognized and protected until 2015.
That's
10 years ago.
Right?
All right. And sadly, here we are again with, in 2022, Roe versus Wade was overturned. So a woman's right to choose to have an abortion was overturned. And what does this mean? By overturning Roe versus Wade, the U.S. Supreme Court has abandoned its duty to protect fundamental rights and ruled that there is no federal constitutional right to an abortion anymore. So now we're in this fierce fight for reproductive rights at the state level. So just FYI, this info I got from CNN. Alabama, Alaska, Kentucky, Louisiana, Oklahoma, South Dakota, Tennessee, and Texas have total bans on abortions with no exceptions for rape or incest.
Here's the thing. As a former nurse, specifically dealing in perinatal, prenatal, everything like that, people are so uneducated on other reasons for an abortion. It is not black and white like people think it is, right? Ectopic pregnancy, which could kill the mother. It's not, the baby's not going to survive. But to say that, nope, can't have an abortion, you will die. That you will die. Like I just
Wait, can you actually have a baby with ectopic? Can it actually
it will grow.
survive?
It will grow because it is implanted and it is
Yeah.
fertilized, but it's in your fucking fallopian tube.
Yeah.
And so it will grow. Like it's going to rupture everything.
Jesus. Good thing we did trigger warnings here.
Yeah. Sorry, but it's like
No.
there's more than that. There's so many other reasons why an abortion it's beneficial. It is not black and white. There's so many gray areas.
Right. And not to mention women who lose their babies in utero, not by medical procedure or their own accord, just the baby doesn't make it. And the mom has to get the fetus out. Otherwise, they go into septic shock.
Yeah.
That is seen as a late term abortion, even if the mom wanted to keep the baby. But like you said, it's not black and white. There's so much gray.
Yeah.
But these are horrific examples of modern day female suppression.
Yeah.
The right to choose their own life, whether that's choosing a life without a child because they don't want one, or choosing a life without a child because the alternative is losing their life. The reason should not matter.
Yeah.
The point is that women are, again, losing the ability to make their own decisions about their own bodies, their own life. Okay. I will get off my little soapbox.
Well, fuck, I worked at a point where there was somebody that was having like hemorrhaging and they really needed a blood transfusion. They refused because of religion, right? They have the right to do that. Sucks for us as healthcare workers, but that is their right. And if they have the right to do that, like,
why can't we have a right to choose for ourselves?
It should be a personal choice because it's condemning somebody to death. It's like, at least the people who refuse transfusions, like it's their choice. But when it's like, you have an ectopic pregnancy, but we can't do anything about it, you're just going to die. Like there is no choice in that.
Yeah. Heidi, I know you and I we understand that not everyone is going to agree with us on this. And we are just speaking our truths, and we just want eyes and minds to be opened a little bit to the idea of this gray area. And because of that, we can't be placed in boxes.
Yeah. Absolutely. Exactly like you said, it's our truth. But fundamentally, I feel like every human being should have the right to what happens to their body.
Yes.
Just
100%.
Basic.
Yep. It's simple. It's simple to me. It's simple to me. I understand it's complicated when you've got in the gray area of your own religion, but let's keep that to yourself and not force that on others. Okay. End of story. And so, yes, we are still being oppressed. Women are still being tried and burned and canceled and ridiculed and silenced for speaking our truth. We might get silenced for this. Fine.
Yeah.
I want to take this moment to play for you, Heidi, a video that I overheard that my jaw dropped. I had to do a double take. Is this 2025? Because
I feel like I've been asking myself that question multiple times recently, like way too often. I've been asking myself, what year are we living in?
Yes. And is this Gilead? I don't know. All right. So this is from a pastor. This is Pastor Joel Webbin on a podcast being interviewed. And this is what he thinks about women.
I can tell I'm going to love it.
A complete and utter lack of accountability for women has caused them to be loud. But here's another one. Women in the public sphere.
Oh.
I just got to be honest. We can't just pretend that it's a lack of accountability, that it's like, oh, well, there's all these women, who are on public platforms and they're speaking, and they're doing this and they're doing that. And it's just the fact that we don't acknowledge that women have faults and the fact that we never speak about their sin and that we never hold them accountable. No, they shouldn't be speaking, period.
What?
Period.
What?
Yes.
What?
They shouldn't
I'm sorry.
be speaking, period.
So
We
just sit still, look pretty, shut up.
Sit still, look pretty, and reproduce.
Oh, of course.
God forbid we don't do that.
But of course, if reproducing is going to kill me, then I guess that's God's will.
I am so sorry, but that is a pastor influencing his community and instilling these beliefs in young kids about who women should be and what their worth is, what their value is. Oh my God.
Sounds like that we have no value or worth besides just being a baby maker.
Not to him.
Machine. Oh, not to him.
That brings me to another video I'd like to play for you.
Same person?
No, this is actually a video that our Defense Secretary, Pete Hegseth, reposted saying, "All of Christ for all of life," which is, I believe, the slogan for this church that he is reposting the clip from.
I don't even know what that means.
All of Christ for all of life. It's their slogan.
Okay, cool.
So when Pete posted this, and again, I am not trying to be political, but this is important in that this is someone in the political realm that is posting this, which scares me a little bit. I'm not going to lie.
Can't wait to hear.
So I'm so sorry. I did not think this was going to get so political.
Yourselves.
But my God.
Yeah.
All right.
Because women are political at this point because we are apparently something to control.
Just existing.
Yeah.
Just by
How dare
existing, we are apparently automatically rebellious.
But yet they need us. I'm so confused.
So I'm just going to read this real quick from NPR. It says, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth has reposted and praised a video interview of a self-described Christian nationalist pastor whose church doesn't believe women should be allowed to vote. Doug Wilson, senior pastor of Christ Church in Idaho, said during the interview with CNN that women are the kind of people that people come out of. I'm going to play that for you real quick because that's disturbing.
Yeah.
And just ridiculous.
Women are the kind of people that people come out of.
So you just think they're meant to have babies. That's it. They're just a vessel.
No, it doesn't take any talent to simply reproduce biologically. The wife and mother, who is the chief executive of the home, is entrusted with 3 or 4 or 5 eternal souls.
I'm here as a working journalist, and I'm a mom of 3.
Good for you.
Is that an issue for you?
No, it's not automatically an issue.
Christ Church senior pastor Doug Wilson is the leader of a Christian nationalist movement that believes in a patriarchal society where men are dominant and women are expected to submit to their husbands.
Do you see yourself as the head of the household, as the man?
He is the head of our household. Yes, and I do submit to him.
So like moving here was ultimately your decision.
Yes.
That's a great
example.
Wilson says in his vision of a Christian society, women as individuals shouldn't be able to vote. His fellow pastors Jared Longshore and Toby Sumter agree.
In my ideal society, we would vote as households. And I would ordinarily be the one that would cast the vote, but I would cast the vote having discussed it with my household.
But what if there's your wife doesn't want to vote for the same person as you?
Right. Well, then that's a great opportunity for a good discussion.
There are some who have gone so far as to say that they want the 19th Amendment repealed.
I would support that. And I'd support it on the basis that the atomization that comes with our current system is not good for humans.
All right.
Can we get a labor simulator on that man?
Oh my God.
And then have him say, well, it doesn't take any skill.
No talent.
No talent needed. You just sit there and, we should make, it could be 24 hours, it could be 48. We don't know.
Yeah.
Just leave you on the machine. You'll be fine. It's no talent. You're good.
Yeah, you'll be fine, big guy. Ugh, okay. And I finally want to play a little bit more of the full CNN interview about what Pastor Douglas Wilson has to say on women in leadership, on leadership roles in the church and in the military. And I'll tell you why it's important in a second.
And Wilson, a veteran himself, is unapologetic about his view that women shouldn't be in certain leadership or combat roles.
Looking at the leadership page for Christ Church, it's all men. Do you accept women in leadership roles in the church and in government?
In the church, no.
Why?
Because the Bible says not to.
Well, that's not what happens in the Bible. Women do lead all the time.
Amen, sister. Yeah. And then there's this. Okay. Get ready to puke.
And what about banning transgender military members?
Oh, that's great.
You think that's great?
That's absolutely great.
And gender
issues. As I mentioned before the interview, I was in the submarine service, for example. And whatever idiot thought of putting women on submarines,
Well, what would you say to a female submariner who's been doing the job and kicking butt doing it?
I'd say, yeah, we don't want you down here kicking butt.
Why?
Because I went to sea a couple of times. Mm-hmm. We were submerged for 2.5 months. All right. 2.5 months, let's say 130 guys in a submarine with 3 women on it. Okay, so let's put 130 horny sailors and 3 women and submerge them out in the middle of the Atlantic for 2.5 months. What could go wrong?
Jesus. Oh my God. So it's our fault that the men are horny.
Oh, of course.
I'm sorry. So I just feel like I had to share that because that's scary. That's scary terrifying. that is getting promoted across male leadership platforms.
Yeah.
Also, why does it matter that it's Pete Hegseth that reposted this? Because he is the United States Secretary of Defense. This is an appointed office in the executive branch of our government. Very important. And his job is to give military advice to our chief of staff, the president. So when you repost something about how a pastor doesn't believe that women should hold leadership positions in combat and in the military, what message does that send to not only the chief of staff, but to everyone in our military, everyone in our country?
Yeah.
It immediately diminishes women's role in the military. I guarantee you there's going to be men in the military that do not look at women with respect just because of what misinformation this is spreading, what fear this is spreading. If you're exercising that kind of authority, you need to be careful.
Yeah.
Even if you post it on your personal account, that's dangerous. That's spreading fear and hate. Awful, awful hate. I don't like it. I'm so sorry, but I'm not sorry, but I'm passionate about it because I am a woman. I'm passionate about it because I see so many women still struggling to get to where they want to be just because of systems.
Yeah.
Systems holding them back. Systems also failing their own mindset, making them believe they're not worthy.
Why do we think going backwards is the answer?
I don't. It's never been the right answer. But that's what happens when you get scared. You retreat, right? You go back to what's comfortable and what has worked in the past, you retreat. So to this point, I sincerely don't think that this is about left versus right politically.
Yeah.
I think it has more to do with fear. I think the patriarchy that rules this world, and when I say patriarchy, I don't mean all men, don't get mad at me. I mean patriarchal systems which happen to be set up by and benefit men. The patriarchy teaches men to hate femininity.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter if that femininity, it doesn't matter if that femininity is attached to a male or a female, right? You could be a feminine male and the patriarchy doesn't like that either.
Yeah, absolutely.
The patriarchy just tries to squash it because they're afraid of losing their power and control. So this is why I don't think it is a left versus right problem, although it is infused in that in our politics, unfortunately. It is a problem of our own fears. So we really need to be careful with what we're consuming, what we are listening to, what we are watching. Trust me, there is fear-inducing information on both sides of the political spectrum.
Yeah.
So again, politics aside, what are you consuming? Is it instilling more fear, or is it saying, hey, you are beautiful as you are, witchiness and all? Keep spreading that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Rant over. Sorry, I've ranted a lot on this episode. But I want to leave you guys with some hope and not just
please, dear
all
God.
of this fear and angst and depression.
Help.
Okay, so how do we start to reclaim the word witch and the power that it represented? I have 3 ways we can do this. We remember, we gather, and we tap into our intuition. So first, we remember they called us witches to shame us. We are going to call ourselves witches again to remember who we are. Because when we remember, we own it and we reclaim it, and then we can rise from it.
We are women in total control of herself.
Yep. Then we gather. We summon, we conjure, we gather together.
Come on, Swifties. We're talking willow orbs now. Let's go.
Because when women gather, they create magic and they create real change.
Ooh, I vote for you for president.
Yeah, I will not do that. That's terrifying.
Yeah.
And then third, we tap into our intuition because when women trust their intuition, they create revolutions.
Yep.
And these 3 things are the very 3 things that men in power fear the most. Women that remember, women that gather, and women that trust their intuition. Mm-hmm. So that's how we can really start to reclaim it. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid of it, and follow your intuition and speak up, please.
There's no silencing this girl.
So Heidi, that was a heavy episode, but what was your big takeaway from everything? Because we talked about a lot.
Yeah. I think, you bringing up that religious episode too, like we barely even touched on Lilith, but that to me is important to remember too. Like there was a woman that was not made from Adam's rib first.
Thank God.
And just because she refused to submit, she was cast out of the story and out of the narrative. And then Eve was created to submit, all of which was man-made. And it was all a story written kind of like that hibbity bobbity boop book you're talking about, that back in the
Malleus Maleficarum.
That's the one, right? He wanted it. Yeah, basically, like he wanted a specific narrative to be spread.
Yeah.
These groups of people wanted a specific narrative to be spread, and that was that women should submit. But at their core, witches were just women who understood the natural world, their own power, and how to use it to help others. And that made them both indispensable and dangerous in a world that wanted them small and silent.
Yep. Boom. Honestly, my big takeaway is let's stop dimming our magic to make others, to make the patriarchy comfortable. Let's reclaim the power that they tried to silence.
Yeah. Let's sparkle like your background, sissy.
Oh yeah. I love it.
I love it.
I'm really sad
that I didn't have
it
a pretty. Yes. I'm slacking on my interior Halloween decor.
I also want to end on this. There was this Instagram reel that I saw that was perfection for this. Her name is Penny. Her handle on Instagram is greenwitchcom, but she's a Buddhist witch and artist. What she said was, not all of us are the grandchildren of witches they didn't burn. Some of us are the spirits of the ones they did, and we remember.
Why did I just get full body chills?
Because it was amazing. It was bold.
Oh, I love that so much.
Isn't that so great?
We came from the pits of hell to rights the wrongs.
So let's be those rebels, ladies.
Damn.
Let's get out there, witches.
Let's go, witches. Let's fucking go, witches.
So this is what Trust Yourself podcast is all about. This is what Heidi and I love to do, reconnect women with their innate intuitive power. And if we get burned at the stake for it, by God, we're going to do it anyway.
We're coming back, bitches. Yep. We'll just keep coming back until we've righted the wrongs.
Yeah. So because when you trust yourself, you're breaking the cycle. You are rewriting the history of the wicked witch into the wise woman again. You are resurrecting that witch within. So if you want to join our mailing list to see when we have our next conjuring of witches to tap into our intuition
gathering,
there, I will put a link in the show notes and you will not regret it. I promise.
Nope. See you there, witches.
I know this was a super long episode, but I still want time for Heidi to do our tarot for the week.
All right. Which one am I going to do?
Ask your witchy ancestors.
I am. They pulled me to the inner child oracle deck. So I'm sure there might be something in here that we maybe need to heal.
Okay.
Okay, so first we get number 31, seek guidance in this. It is time for a different perspective. So seek guidance, do your research.
And it's time for a different perspective on witches.
Right? It's totally time for a different perspective. Maybe it's time for that man who did all the talking to find a different perspective too. We also got number 24, let love guide you. Choose to see the good in the world today. So again, leading with love, getting back to our true self and trusting yourself. And finally, 35, there is hope ahead. Thank God. Thank God. It says, have courage and take heart, for there is hope. So
that's so good.
There is hope ahead,
so
guys.
Needed right now.
So friggin' needed. Are you kidding me?
I also love that you pulled the card that says lead with love, because I'm sure there were times when the witches who were just healers actually, when they were being tortured and pressed to confess, they actually turned to dark magic or decided that they want to put hexes on people, because hell yeah, if I'm mad, I would want to curse you too.
Don't cross us.
Yeah.
Okay. I will have to say there were 3 other cards that came out and I wasn't going to read them, but I just peeked at them and I was like, this is worth saying. So the other set of 3 that came out was first, number 32, set boundaries, claim your power and know your value today. So I think this is super important right now. Set your freaking boundaries on what you will refuse and accept in our political system as well, right? Are we going to allow ourselves to be suppressed again? Let's set some fucking boundaries. So then we also got 42, you deserve to be seen. Let yourself be known. And this is a cute little deer and a bird. But again, this is totally speaking to how we need to speak up and use our voices and be seen and be heard. And then number 21, let go of the past. It is time to envision a new story. Goosies, guys.
Yeah.
Let's let go of that past. Let's let go of the negativity with the word witches. We are going to reclaim it and we're going to step into this new era.
Yep. All right. So please, if this resonated with you, don't forget to sign up for our mailing list. We'd love to see you at one of our workshops. So go to our show notes, sign up for our mailing list, and we'll see you there. And until next time, it's your move, sis.
Make it count. Bye. Let's go, bitch.